Ladies and gentlemen, and on that cue, we bring to you the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. That's right.
I love
The good news, the bad news. Na, 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 na. Well, you know, some days are particularly hard, and that's why we kind of did it this way today, because we wanted to get a chance to do some other things and cover some other things, and some stories are so impactful that they kind of take over things, and so we decided to hold off until this moment. But of course, everyone is talking about the recent passing of Whitney Houston. This is a person who I had the wonderful experience of seeing numerous times. And at one time, I considered her to be the absolute best vocalist in the world. Mm-hmm. And many people felt the same way. Right. Best pipes in the world. Best combination of power and calisthenics. Tone and control. Could definitely do the soft stuff.
Yeah.
But when it came time to stand to the side of Patti LaBelle or folks like that, very few people can.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's right. Very few people can, but Whitney Houston could and did.
Yeah.
And, started out singing background, for Chaka Khan. People don't realize her mom, Sissy Houston, well known.
Yes.
This is a musical family. Her auntie, Dionne Warwick.
Yeah.
Okay, so she comes from, like we said, we talked about your roots.
Right.
She also comes from wonderful roots.
Right.
But, found dead Saturday. I mean, people are already talking about where were you, where we were. They were having the rehearsal for the Grammys. And I understand at the time the announcement hit there, Rihanna was on stage rehearsing her performance, and just people were all affected. All around the world, people have been affected by Whitney Houston, 48 years old, who died. They're talking about combination of drugs,
prescription drugs
in her system. Hard to say still what caused her death, from what we're understanding. And the story has been changing, to some extent.
Yeah.
Found underwater.
Wow.
In the bathtub. In the hotel.
Wow.
So certainly they're wondering about, and they know certain things already, but they need to confirm them because these kind of things so sensitive to so many people. What's interesting, you guys, people are making their testimonies out there, a lot of testimonies to Whitney Houston. But I wanted to bring out a couple of other things that sort of tell you how social media plays an impact. The news of her death actually hit Twitter 27 minutes before it was on any news press.
That's how quick that is.
That's how quick. This also, we saw this happen, we've seen this happen with earthquakes.
Yeah.
Things, even with Michael Jackson, other things, it's amazing. But 27 minutes before it hit any news, it was already on Twitter. And it was interesting. Some of the early tweets that came out were from people who were around other folks. And they were really saying it can't, for people at who work for them. Here's one, people say, my Aunt Tiffany, who works for Whitney Houston, just found out Whitney Houston was dead in the tub. Yeah. These are some of the early ones that were coming out. And so a lot of people coming out, talking about this. She had a troubled life, which, one of the things we like to mention here, because we're often so close to these kinds of things, is certainly what fame and fortune doesn't do for folks. So many people expect that. If I could just get known, if I could just get that hit, then when you get the hit, and it doesn't solve everything in your life, because there's certain, people expect money to solve everything, and it really doesn't. All of a sudden you find yourself up in a big old house with a bunch of people around you and you don't feel any better, that makes you get high. No, I'm saying you've done everything you could. You thought for sure if you could just get this fame and fortune, it was going to make your life better, and it doesn't. And we see that happen to so many people because you think it will, and it's natural to think that it would. You know, especially with so many of us, even today, are dealing with financial problems. So many folks thinking, if I could just get a little more money, you know, that would solve anything.
More problems.
Well, there you go.
Good money is no good money.
You know, because you wonder about Whitney so unhappy.
You're right.
And you wonder about Michael, too. You know, unable to really get out and enjoy some of the simple things that you and I take for granted.
Right.
You know, and then I wonder, too, let's be frank, her voice was not the same, had not been the same.
Yeah.
People all over were walking out of performances. She was supposed to perform that night
Yeah.
at Clive Davis's annual party. And you know what the first thing I said was, Whitney, why do you perform? Why can't you just show up and give out awards and be in a beautiful gown? And let everybody talk about how wonderful your gown is.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what
Too
you need.
simple.
What happens as vocalists get older, you just have to show up and be in beautiful gowns.
No.
That's it.
And then give out an award, be emeritus. You know, you don't have to. Paul McCartney's not performing at the Grammys. You know, he can give out awards. You know, I'm just saying that.
Well,
And so my
that's
thing
rough.
was, I wanted her to do that role, you know, where she did more of that, was the ambassador, you know, but not so much. I wonder how much the pressure, or if she felt any pressure. Because I started thinking, I said, was she feeling happy about going to sing at Clive Davis's party?
She didn't really have to do that. It wasn't a need for her to even have to do that.
That's what I'm saying to you. It
Just
had
like
to be
you
a
said.
stress.
All she had to do was show up.
Yes.
And be Whitney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just bask in your fame
Exactly.
and enjoy your honored spot. But you know, I think that pressure, it's like, okay, we see it with athletes too, Vic, right?
All the
Want to hang on. We all age.
Yeah.
We all change. So if you're beautiful at 25, you can't really be the same beautiful at 55. It just is not possible. And we have some unrealistic expectations in these areas. But certainly that had to...
But isn't it about the ride? I mean, I think, I make the correlation with sports and celebrities the same. Mentally, when you get stroked that hard, it's one thing to be the best in a category and the best in a certain genre. But when you're the best at the time on the planet, and you have that injection, and you know what it is like for adrenaline. Now, Mario, you and I, we talk about how many times we had adrenaline rushes. Mine lasted about 3.2 seconds. Yours lasted about 2.1. That was on our best days. Okay, so
But you can imagine how hard it is. I know, even on different levels, how many of us know, for example, people who are used to being the beautiful folks,
that's what I'm saying.
who
This
used
is
to
what I'm
walk
saying.
into the party or the club and everybody would turn, ooh, and one day they walk in and no one cares.
Right.
That will change.
And you
Yeah.
watched them. I've known some beautiful women who had trouble with that. They used to be the head turners. They're not the head turners anymore.
It's hard,
And
man.
it's hard
That's
to let go of that.
It's
Just
hard.
and some of the men used to, you know, all the muscles and everything. You know, stuff happens.
Yeah. But
And
what's the great thing? She does have something that they're wrapping around that becomes now the thing you want to remember, the cherished memory. And now they're doing all the stuff with the halftime Super Bowl. Now that's that side
Well,
of the
it's
world.
a cherished. Well,
That's the one they're pushing more than
let me
anything.
tell you guys the part. I hate to be the cynic, but let me throw this thing
Oh,
out. Because
no.
someone called me. I said, watch the money machine go into action. Do you understand that the minute she died, a
Okay.
bunch of people knew they were richer?
Yeah.
So I said,
Yes,
now
of
let me
course.
tell you what's so amazing. If you go right now, in less than 24 hours, they had compilations
Already.
for sale.
Already there.
They were making the Whitney anthology video collection you could get, the music. Do you realize
Wait a
5 of her tracks jumped into the top 10?
Already. Yeah.
Okay, 5 of her tracks. I will always love you.
Right.
Went all the way back up again.
But now, is that a good thing? See,
Well, I mean, I hope
depends how you frame
you know,
it,
well,
man.
see, I'm a cynic. I think it's good if the money gets to artists. That's my thing.
Okay.
If when the money goes to the machinery, I don't give a shit. I just don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you could get some money to the artists, like some of Whitney's folks, get
Right.
some of the money.
Right.
But see, what happens? She's like Elvis. She's like Michael.
course.
When they die, a whole machinery kicks into action.
That's right.
That's worth millions and millions and often hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
Just on the stuff because everybody can go buy the Bodyguard
Right.
right now. They hitting that. Okay, so it's going to be all the downloads, the stores, everybody's hitting it. And I told some people, I said, watch this. If you ever want to see, I said, go look, just check what they do in 24, 48 hours, and you will be stunned you'll say, Best Buy, go to Best, boom, Whitney, sales, boom, and yeah. Everywhere you go, everywhere.
You know what makes me kind of sad is that I hear a lot of people putting a lot of the blame on Bobby Brown.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can't.
You know, I don't believe that you can, and that's kind of been my little issues because, you know, at the end of the day, you are an adult.
Let's speak frankly about the person we love, because people mentioned this even years ago. People said, and it's even coming out in articles now, that if you didn't understand why Whitney was with Bobby Brown, it's because you don't understand Whitney.
Right.
Everybody who said that said if you understood who Whitney is, it would make perfect sense to you.
Right.
So it's your what it is a testimony. Do you understand how many people Clive Davis cleaned up their image? Luther Vandross, who I also love, was an obviously gay performer when he first did the first tour. I saw him. Even before he did the Luther tour, I saw him tour when he was with the other group that did Searching.
Oh yeah,
you know, there you go. Right. So I saw that. Now, Clive Davis, I said at the time, because he was openly feminine on stage, doing the mannerism. Hair had peaks in it that you could see from where I was sitting. And he had one of them balloon sleeve shirts on, like James Brown used to wear.
I don't know about that picture.
Now, wait, I'm telling you, because I sat there and I said, and then he was singing Never Too Much and blew the shit out of it. And I said, if they clean up his look and hair, do you know the next year in concert, Luther looked totally different. He was laid out, his hair, his clothes. You know, when those people get ahead of you, on you, the marketing, packaging, they do what. Luther looked so damn good, and he looked good the rest of the way. Clive Davis did this. He did this too. Alicia Keys. Remember, we heard before Alicia Keys hit, people came to me. You know, Clive got a new one called Alicia Keys, right? And she does this. We were all hearing about her, and he presented her at one of his New Year's parties. Same thing, cleaned up her image too, right? She was a little rough. Because at the time, Alicia Keys was like a little old rough kind of ghetto girl. She was like a little street hood. Like, what's up? Yeah, all that. Pinka-tinka-tinka-ching. She was bad, but she was like a little hood rat. Okay, I'm just the truth. And people know, right?
There was word going around that she was a lesbian.
There you go. A lot of talk about her. See?
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Clive Davis cleaned all that up.
Yeah.
Okay, he's known for that, so we got to give him. But still, does it really matter? Because so many. Okay, I went through this discussion even as it related to Martin Luther King with some folks. Some people were still mad at him about alleged indiscretions. John F. Kennedy. Our heroes. Any of them perfect? You know, any of them stand up to close scrutiny? Einstein told his old lady if she would just leave him alone, she could have the money from the Nobel Prize. Okay, okay. I'm just telling you. I know there's some scandals out there. Okay, a whole lot of your heroes, they are heroes, but they had areas of shortcomings, like so many of us do.
Human.
So we're human.
Yeah,
beings.
so that was what I was gonna say. Like, just because they're showing their faults and like, stuff,
yeah, I mean,
it doesn't mean they're no.
And to have to live your life out under such a microscope. Right. You know what? Like, how many of us would like just to even have the people we slept with displayed across the screen? How you like to have a kaleidoscope of that? One, just pictures of people you slept with.
Oh, God.
Ching! Ching! How many, you would be going, oh, Lord, please don't show that one. See?
Now, let me think about it. It may not be that bad. Hold on. Let me think.
Well, that's our point today, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing a shortened segment of the good news, the bad news, because we want to hit some of the other things. And today, we felt that we needed to stop and focus on Whitney, to celebrate her, to look at her and see in her life some of our own struggles. Because so many of us have struggles that are similar or related, or people in our family. And at least still a moment to love her for who she is.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Yeah, there you go.
Much props, much respect.
Yeah, it framed it real well, man.
I used to live in Newark, New Jersey.
Wow.
So I know where Whitney's coming from.
Oh, wow.
And if, like you said, if you don't know where she came from, you wouldn't understand the relationship.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
between
it's
her and
rough.
Bobby Brown. So, yeah, you wouldn't understand the relationship. Before I moved out here to Cali, yeah.
And
all
that's just
different thing.
image anyway. You got to
Exactly.
remember that's what they have to market you as packaging.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that that's the person that you are.
No, true
Under
indeed.
any circumstances, and that's where people get it twisted when they think about celebrities to any degree. I think that they dehumanize celebrities some kind of way, make them immortal in some kind of way where they're, you have to be this role model and people look up to you. It's a lot of pressure because, you know that you're human.
Right.
And, there's only so much of role modeling you can be without being God, because that's your role model.
Well, in the packaging process, like you said about what Clive had done, people used to look at Whitney and Bobby and you seem like polar opposites.
Right.
You would think you see polar opposites if you didn't know them.
Right.
She was put on a pedestal. She was the good girl. He's the bad boy.
Right.
That was always the media feed that they was feeding you, and too many people ate and drank the Kool-Aid.
Right. That's right.
And that was the problem. I mean, if you didn't know for yourself or you didn't do your homework, you wouldn't have had no idea that they were actually an equal, on equal footing.
Right.
So this makes the difference between why Whitney is Whitney, and Clive did a wonderful job.
Clive did a wonderful
Clive
job.
did a wonderful
Wonderful
job.
job. As he did with many others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody, that's been the good news, the bad news. And of course,
The other
shit.
Yeah, figured.
That's right, everybody. The good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Sad note today. Another one gone. Another icon.